Hello, everyone. This is Coach Clayton, and this is my Women's Empowerment Interview episode. And today we have Teekwa, and we are going to discuss her amazing journey that she overcame obstacles personally and professionally. Welcome, Teekwa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to chat with me. Thank you so much, Teekwa.
Anything to empower women.
That's right. That is right. So, Teekwa, your background really intrigued me. I know that when our audience hears your background, they're really going to be inspired by you. Let's dive in. Let me know, where do you want to start? How do you want to?
We could start with me being a young mom.
Okay, let's start there, because I can definitely relate. So let's start there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about it. So you have a daughter, son?
I have two sons. My oldest son is 31, and my youngest.
Wait a minute.
Every time I always that.
31. Wow, you look so good.
Thank you.
Okay.
And my youngest is 10.
Wow.
So I am single, still single, never been married, never lived with a man. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So my journey was it's pretty interesting. I mean, I know that everybody has their own stories and things like that, but I was grew up in a Christian home.
Okay.
And one step in, one step out.
Yep, I know.
I got out there, got caught, and became pregnant. So I had my first child at 19. So I didn't have one, I had two twins. Okay.
Wow.
So, and I didn't even know I was having twins. So it was a shock to me, and of course, shock to the family. And this journey that I went on was a very rough one, because I was very young growing up. I mean, very quiet. I'm sorry, you were young. Very quiet growing up. I was an introvert, quiet and everything. So to have two babies that were sick in the hospital, going through so many things as a young mother, not like any regular mom that's like, oh, my baby's in the world. I'm up at night, going to the hospital, spending time, and they're in tubes and all the stuff. So worrying as a young mother. So not only were a young mother, I had 6 children, and I had to grow up real fast. I was there for my children. So my son, one of the twins passed away at 11 months because he had a cardiac arrest at 7 days old. So we found out he was blind. He couldn't see. I mean, he couldn't hear. And then he had to have an operation with a tube. I had to feed him through a tube. So I was a nurse. I was a mom. I was everything at that time. And then my other twin had surgery too. So just imagine the emotions that I was going through. But thank God I had God, and also the support of my family, because I was living with my parents. But as a young mom, what was going through my head was like, okay, I'm not going to finish school because I have 2 babies to take care of. Not only that, they're sick. And then I can't get a job because I decided that I was going to stay home and I was going to take care of my kids.
That's right.
I was going to send them to no facility or anything like that, when it was encouraged by the doctors. The doctors even came to my house, okay, to talk to me. All right. So that's when God came in. It's like, I'm your resource. So I believed in him and everything. When they came to me and said that my child was about to die, and I looked at them in my eye, I said, no, he's not. Every time he went to the hospital, 24 hours, boom, he's back up, oxygen up, we home. Did that for a while. And then finally, my mom, I never experienced death or seen any death growing up. So my mother came into the room and she said, it's time to take him to the hospital. I was like, he's fine, he's okay. She was like, no, take him to the hospital. So I took him to the hospital, and a few hours later, he passed away. So my mother knew. So that was something that I went through as a young mom. So my other child, which is 31, he's healthy and everything. I went through trials and tribulations with him.
Yes,
Not being
yes.
just being a single mother and raising a boy and not having his father in his life. So as a young mom, we go through so many things. But I have to say
Mhm.
that my resource is God, right?
That's right.
He's the one. He got me through a lot. So I was
Mhm.
able to leave my apartment, go back and live with my parents, decided that I was going to work full time, go to school full time, put my
Wow.
son through Christian school because he needed God up in him, and got my degree. So a lot of people will say, well, how did you do it? How you
Yes.
full time and work full time? Let me tell you
Mhm.
something. When you want something,
That's right.
you're going to do it. You're going to make it happen.
Mhm.
How I did it, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't know how to do it, but I know it was the strength of the Lord that got me through. And I
Yes.
graduated cum laude, 4.0 average, full time. I didn't know how.
Oh.
Okay. So that struggle, the struggle was real throughout the whole course of
Mhm.
my life, my young life. I thought my life was like, oh my God, I'm going to be taking care of sick kids for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
But you know what? That was a decision that I was going to make for my child.
That's
So along
right.
the way, I had other obstacles, with relationships with God, with guys and things like that. But
Yeah.
um, I strayed away from God and
Mhm.
got into a relationship, and
Mhm.
things happen. I've
Yeah.
never been married,
Mhm.
because I was supposed to be waiting on God. That's why.
Mhm. Amazing, amazing. How did you find the strength? I know that you said that when you have your mindset on something, you're going to get it done. But how did you find your strength? Because going through that journey, you've had, I'm sure there were peaks and there were peaks and valleys. How did you get yourself to keep going when you were in those valleys, Teekwa?
Well, to be honest with you, although I had my parents for support,
Yeah.
but my parents were not, they didn't get their degree. They
Mhm.
believe in get a job, get a good job, have a good benefits, and move
Mhm.
on. I know that I wanted more,
Yeah.
right? And not only that, my strength was my child because I was going through as a single mother with him. And I
Mhm.
wanted to show him that, as a mom, can't be the father, but as a mom,
That's
I'm
right.
showing you that I'm getting my education and I'm doing what I have to do to make my life better. And I wanted to be that model, that role model for him and mother. So he was my strength.
Yes.
Even though we was going through stuff and he was going through stuff, I wanted to show him that through it all, you still can make it. You still can do it. So he was my strength. God was my strength. My parents were there for support because I went back to live with them, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
really, my focus. If
Mm.
you're not focused and intentional about the things that you want to do, then you're not going to complete them. It's going to take you a very long time. And I made a decision. I'm a type of person that I don't like doing things for a very long time. So when I started counting how many years, if I was to go part-time from school, I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I can be here for 10 years. I was doing school for 10 years." I made a
Mhm. Mhm.
plan and I said that I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to sacrifice with it. So I went to school at night. I went to school on Saturday and Sunday and took online classes.
I love
Okay.
it.
I was not going to be in school for no 10 years. That was not happening. But I still was able to make time for my son and be there for my
Mhm.
family. It was a lot, but I was young.
I
Yeah.
love it. What would you tell a young mother? What advice would you give a young mother that feels hopeless, that feels like this is it? What would you say to her?
I would say to her to take the pause
Mm.
and to start reflecting on your life,
Yeah.
where it is now and where you want to go.
Mhm.
Journal. That's the one thing that saved me was my diary. My mother brought me the diary. Was my
Mhm.
diary. Was write down the things that you want, how you
Mhm.
feeling, because you may be going through something emotionally. Everybody has a, deep dark things that they go through. Whatever that is, write it out. talk out your feelings, because sometimes when you're talking to somebody else, they're giving you all these different advice and you get all confused and
Yeah.
you don't know to go here and go there. Listen to yourself first, your heart, and just stay in tune and just like meditate on that, and also talk to God. When you talk to God and you start reading the Bible and reading the scriptures, he's going to talk to you, because I used to always say, God don't talk to me for nothing. Talk to them. I was like, well, when are you going to talk to me? Actually doing what I just said, writing and talking and just having a conversation with him,
Yeah.
he started talking to me. And I'm like, oh, there were some thoughts that came to my head and some things that he reminded me of from the past. And I was just having those conversations just naturally. And then one day I was like, what, God was talking to me.
Love it. I love it. That is so true. The journaling is so important. Journaling is so important. And to just sit, quietness is very important too. And not always reaching out for this one's advice, that one's advice. You will have that intuition of what to do. You'll feel that in your heart. You definitely will if you sit and if you journal. So I love that, Teekwa. I love that. Absolutely. Yes. And you have a business now, right? Or tell me a little bit about what you're doing professionally.
Oh God. Love it, love it, love it. So I am still a 9-to-5 worker.
Okay.
And I wanted to know what was the next journey I asked God, because I was at my job. And then, sometimes when you're working for someone and then by the time that end of the year come and you get that raise and you be like, okay, I worked my butt off.
Yeah.
You tell me
Yeah.
you're getting this. That was a turning point for me. I've been at my job for 25 years and I'm like saying, you know what, God, it has to be something else.
Yeah.
Now, when I talk about that journal,
Mhm.
there were some things in my journal that I wrote that I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to do this and I wanted to that. And sometimes you got to go back and start reading things from the past or the
So
things that
true.
you remember what you wanted to do. Go back to that. So I started going back and reading that, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to start a business. I didn't want to start do no 9-to-5. I wanted to be a celebrity event planner.
Oh, nice.
That was my dream, because I used to do events and everything for friends and family, showers, all that stuff. They used to call me for everything. So my brother and I did have that business, but apparently that wasn't the path that God wanted me on.
Yeah.
We started, for some reason, it just didn't really take off the way it should have. And then he put in my heart to start my own business, start a virtual assistant agency.
Wow.
And that's in connection to what I do as an admin. Now, tell you this, I never wanted to be an admin. I didn't want to.
Yes.
I don't want to do this. I do not want to be running nowhere for nobody doing this.
Yeah.
I'm a single mother. I ain't gonna be running for nobody else.
I love it. Yep.
So, but no, for some reason, though, that kept coming up. And I was like, oh, okay. Single mom, I need a job. Let me just go to this interview. Out of all the interviews, I get this job.
I love it.
It's something about you. It's something about you. I know that you don't have no experience with that, but I'm going to take a risk on you. She took a risk on me. She let me just, hired me. I went through all the trainings they did. Now, mind you, all the assistants there already had years and years of experience. They didn't have the IT part of it. So I came in and brought my IT part of it, and I learned more, and then I started training them. So from there, that's when God said, okay, this is the business I want you to go into. It's a serving business. It's a business service. So God wants me to serve. And I didn't know what my purpose was. I really didn't. Until I started, going to church and fellowshipping with some of the sisters. And one of the sisters, she said, that's your purpose. She says that administration is your purpose. And I was like, I never really thought of that. God just kept throwing that at me. And I really wasn't really connecting the dots. And so now I'm doing my virtual assistant agency where I train and I also coach women. And my specific target audience is single moms.
I love it.
They can do it too. You can have your 9-to-5. Don't think about check to check. I've been there working from check to check. you can supplement your income.
I love it. So do you teach them how to get clients? How, and is it all done remotely? Like, give me a breakdown of what it is. I love this.
So the virtual assistant is 100% remotely.
Yeah.
And when I did my research, because I'm always researching, I always got to check everything, make sure that it's something that I want to get into, and stuff like God, you got to give me a confirmation. So all that training and leadership things that I did on my job, God was already preparing me there for this.
That's right.
So when I started this, I did my research. I connected with people who was in the industry, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to bring a flair into this. My at work virtual assistant skill sets. So as a VA, you work 100% remotely, or if you want to work just on projects, you can while you're working 5. So they work 100% remotely. They're not employees, they are business owners. So a lot of people feel that they're just like a personal assistant. They are not personal assistants. You are buying hours from them, right? So they have multiple clients from different industry, and that's how they get their income, and they're able to make 6 figures if they want to, they choose to. It depends on how they work that, and I show them how to do that.
Okay.
So I teach them, the tools that are out there. What is their niche? What niche you want to get in, because it's very important to know your niche. What is it? Who's your target audience? Who's your ideal client? It's just like doing a vision board. I always compare that to a vision board. Write it down and make it plain, right? What type of client do you want? Because if you had 100 of those perfect clients, how would that change your world? And that I always say that, how would that change your world if you had 100 clients? They were like, oh, I can do this. I'll be able to do this. I'll be able to work from Bahamas or whatever. Just having them come out and just think about the possibility of having this dream job, right? Having your dream clients, and then also providing a service to them. So I have systems in place. SER is skills, experience, and then results. And that comes from the word from serve. So SER, serve. We're in a business, we're in a serving business, and we're making an impact on lives.
Nice.
The other one is VIP. That's your valuable interested payers. Those are your ideal client that's going to pay you, that's not going to dumb down on your prices. And we pray about that. So mine is like a kingdom-minded virtual assistant. So I kind of like put in the word of God and match that to what we're doing and serving in this business. And then there is the HLP, which is the hook, line, and book. So it's like you're making a connection with your clients, and you're lining them up while getting on a discovery call to let them know, what you do, and then book them.
Okay.
You can work with them, right? So I created those systems so that they can connect with it and then understand it, and not just be in the business to just for the money, but also who do you want to impact? Who do you want to work with? There's nonprofits. It could be a woman who went through abuse in one of those type of communities or nonprofits or companies like that, that's for women. So you can do this to support your favorite institution or do something for your community and also make money.
I love it. And I love it that your niche is single moms, because they're able to work from home if they want to. You know what I mean? Especially now with so many people having to return back to the office. And I love it. I absolutely love it. How would they be able to find you online?
Teekwa.com, TEEKWA.com. You can reach me there or on social media. I'm on IG and Facebook. That's my 2 main places.
Okay. And is this just so that the audience is clear, this is a coaching program, or is it an agency, like an agency that they can go through you?
Agency is for my clients. Yeah, that's a business that I hire contractors to work for my clients.
Okay.
separate. So I have a training for new VAs that
Okay.
come in to train and then go into coaching if they choose to go into coaching. But for those who are already VAs and need coaching, then I have a
Mhm.
coaching program specifically for them as well.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Okay, so in closing, Teekwa, what is the biggest takeaway that our audience should know about your journey, or what advice do you give women to empower them?
Whew.
I know.
But I'm going to tell you this.
Okay.
Since I'm an introvert, and you will never know because, I'm all
You
over.
remind me of me. Are you sure you're not an ambivert? It's like you could be both.
Yes. I think went from being a total introvert to
Yeah.
bam, now I'm out there. Right.
Yes.
No, in between, it's like I had to get out there.
Yep.
There was a lot of fear, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I know that if I was to speak to someone, I would say that, there's going to be fear, right?
Yes.
We're just going to have to step away from it, right? There's fear in the world, but if you don't take the step to do it, that fear is going to continue to grip you. Second thing is be bold. Now I'm talking a place from when I did my vision board, because I do themes. Be
Mhm.
bold. That was one thing that I needed to do for me to step out of my comfort zone to do what I wanted to do for my life. And then the next thing is be intentional.
Mhm.
You have to be intentional so you can see the results. If you're all over the place and you're not focused and you're not intentional on those things, then it's not going to get done. And then you're going to wonder why it's not working. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, because you're not really focusing on the prize and really taking the steps and being intentional about the things that you want to do.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Teekwa, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to chat with me. Thank you so much. And I still can't believe you have a 31-year-old son. I don't care what you say. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.